Yiratzon, Parshat Miketz 5780. Yiratzon the Limud Shibud Refuat, Kol HaCholim, V'tocham Tanya Matot HaMagalit, Yosef Yair ben Aviv Chava, Harav Sivan ben Sima, B'toch Kol Sha'ar Cholei Yisrael. It's always in the time of Hanukkah that we come to the story of Yosef. And obviously there's a link between the story of Yosef that always comes in link to Hanukkah. But in order to understand why, it's very interesting if we open up Masechet Shabbat, Daf Kaf Bet Amud Aleph. In the middle of nowhere, it's speaking about the Hanukkah candles, speaking about what happens if your Hanukkah candles harm another person. And then it says, Ve'abor rek ein bo mayim, from the story of Yosef. And the pit was empty and had no water. And they explain how that means that inside the pit, not only was there nothing, but ein bo mayim meant, mayim ein bo, nechashim ve'akravim yesh bo. Meaning the story teaches us, when it says that the bore was rek, it means it's empty. So why does it say ein bo mayim? Obviously if it's empty, ein bo mayim. So they teach the intensity of the hatred of the brothers. Not they threw them into a pit that ein bo, but it didn't have water, meaning it didn't have life, but it did have nechashim ve'akravim. It did have snakes and scorpions and things that were going to kill Yosef. So that's the story in the Gemara, but obviously the question is, why does this come in connection to the story of Hanukkah? And I think that there's something emphasized in the Pasuk that might elaborate the relationship between the story of Yosef and the candles of Hanukkah. What we realize what it says is, V'aborek ein bo, meaning there's total experience of absence. Not only is there physical absence, but there's spiritual absence. There's not only physical absence, but there's emotional absence. He's thrown into a pit that emotionally the brothers want him to see scorpions and snakes and feel how much absence he's experiencing. And so we look at this pasuk and it's clearly emphasizing the concept of absence. Ein bo meaning there is no physical sustenance, there's no emotional relationship, there's no spiritual guidance. And how often do all of us go through these pits that maybe we have physical sustenance, but we don't have emotional strength. Maybe we have emotional strength, but we don't have spiritual guidance or connection or relationship. Comes Hanukkah and says, I want to teach everyone through the story of Yosef, not only that there is absence, but how do we relate to absence? And the answer of Yosef is, how do we deal with absence? And the answer is very, very powerful. The concept of Yosef is that absence is only on a short-term lens. When you're going through spiritual lack or emotional turbulence, of course there's absence. But if you look on it on a short-term lens, then you have no way out of the absence. Who is Yosef? Yosef is the one who says that I want my bones to stay in Egypt. I want to show the Jewish people throughout the absence of Egypt that there's a long-term lens. There's a long-term vision. There's somewhere to get to, and there's somewhere to yearn to, and there's somewhere to have a vision towards. And if I have this long-term vision, then absence becomes opportunity. And so what Hanukkah teaches us is not only that there is darkness in the world, but if you have a candle that gives you lens, that gives you the ability and the concept of having long-term vision, of yes, you're going through absence, and you don't feel spiritual connection when you walk into shul. But do I see my great-grandchildren? Because if I could see my great-grandchildren, then suddenly absence becomes the opportunity to relate to other people, to bigger pictures, to things that matter more than just my own personal story. And so my bracha, as we walk into Parshat Miketz, and we see Yosef with all of his greatness, we recognize that he was the one thrown not once but twice into pits. He was thrown into places with no guidance, but he always saw the image of his Abba. He always saw the image of the future. He always understood that the only way to deal with challenge and absence is to create actual long-term understanding. Shabbat Shalom.